I'm a little late to the party here, but whatever. This is a video about Arya. Spoilers for Canto 9, this video expects you to know what happened in the chapter itself. I like Arya, but I think she has some real problems that show up in part 3 especially. So before we get to those big ones, though, let's start with her introduction in the Canto and figure out what she's all about. You first see her in a thumb lab after Rien has slaughtered everyone there. She attaches to Ryoshu immediately, and Ryoshu takes her home. The thread is tied. I like the start. While we don't learn a whole lot about the thumb's attempts to make Arya herself, I don't think that information is necessary to the Canto. Brevity on the matter is good. The fact that Rien was the one to ransack the lab solves the problem of how Arya survived as well. There's no way that Rien didn't just find her. She let her live on purpose, knowing that she would become a good leash to Ryoshu later on. Something interesting about Arya is she doesn't seem to react to the bodies and blood around her once Ryoshu is there. This shows an important part of Arya's personality, her unwavering trust in Ryoshu. This is a good setup to something that'll come back to bite both these characters way later. After that, we mostly see flashbacks with Arya and Ryoshu bonding in their room and spending time with each other. After a while, Ryoshu sends Arya off to school, and she is more excited about that than any school kid has ever been, so good for her. This is about the point where we learn more about Arya's interests. Music, spelling, learning in general. I kind of wish we got to see more of Arya going to school and playing music. It would have been nice, but ultimately that is a minor complaint though. Eventually, Ryoshu realizes that Arya is always a danger in the Spider House and rebels, injuring 4 of the Nurse Fathers and killing Shiomi. Ryoshu puts Arya in a time vault, thinking that it'll speed up the wait from her perspective. But she's wrong. Instead, Arya is sort of glitched out, disassociated from time. And here comes one of the problems with this Canto, which affects Ryoshu, Arya, and Shiomi. We are told that they have a special connection to time that allows them to wield the Qianxia Star's blade with proficiency, but we are never told really how that works, nor are we told why that connection to time is needed for one to use the sword. The only time we see any of them affected by time in a unique way is after Arya is taken from the safe, but the story makes it clear that the other two do have a unique connection to time, but we just never really see what that means. Because we don't know how this connection to time works or why it affects the ability to wield the sword, I don't really know why these 3 characters are in the position they're in specifically. I don't know why Shiomi of all people is dragged into the Spider House, or why they needed to clone her. Rand tries to explain entanglement after Arya leaves the time vault, but it's vague and confusing, and not in the way that Rien as a character usually is. Anyway, we don't see a whole lot of Arya after she leaves the safe until the Canto actually starts. This is true for the other Nurse Fathers too, but it means we don't get to see a whole lot about Arya's change from the loving daughter who sees the thread as something valuable and important, to the diseased woman who sees it only as a curse that binds horrible things, and people, to each other in the Spider House. I think it would have been good to see Arya after she left the safe, but before she reunited with Ryoshu. Maybe talking to Ren as she trains him, or even the other Nurse Fathers. The fact that the twist about her being the Nurse Father happens so late means that the story doesn't have time to elaborate on it, which becomes much greater of a problem as the Canto goes on. Let's talk about Ren, who exemplifies this exact problem. Unlike the other apprentices, we don't see a whole lot of Ren and Arya's relationship. It's mostly implied, which I don't particularly like, especially considering Albina, Kira, and Lucio had much stronger relationships with their Nurse Fathers. Sora didn't, to be fair, but I think that works quite a bit better for her, because her whole deal is neglect. I can only assume this relationship feels empty, because if we knew too much about the relationship, it would spoil the Nurse Father twist too early, and there's not enough time after the twist to happen for it to be expanded upon. The end result of this is we don't get a real picture of how Ren and Arya's relationship is. He's probably the most well-adjusted of the apprentices, but still. We never get to see how Arya shaped Ren. Was she kind or cruel? Wise or childish? We don't ever get to know. They seem to have a good relationship, but I can't really glean anything more from it, which is a shame, especially considering this Canto's focus on generational trauma. Ren feels like he's there because he has to be. The other 4 Nurse Fathers have apprentices, so the Pinky has to have one too. If we just got a few more scenes with Arya and Ren talking, I feel like that would improve both of their characters by a lot, especially Ren, who currently feels redundant. Anyway, that's not the big problem. The big problem is that Arya forgives Ryoshu far too quickly in the finale. Throughout the whole chapter, Arya, as the Pinky Nurse Father, has shown nothing but contempt and disdain for Ryoshu, who forced her to wait in that safe for who knows how long and permanently desynced her from time. We see her self-hatred too, viewing herself as an object that Ryoshu must come back for because the thread ties them together, and not because Ryoshu truly loves her. We see Arya's mental state over the span of several nodes. Her despair at Ryoshu coming too late to save her, her wrath at being trapped in the safe, and her disillusionment with reality, covering it with a veil so she can stand it. All of that is resolved when Arya, who had just been stabbed fatally by her mother, clings onto Dante's trouser leg, desperately wishing for them to help bring Ryoshu back. This comes out of nowhere and happens over the course of one CG. This redemption happens one node after the twist is revealed. It's way too fast. Imagine if in Canto 7, when Sancho finally remembered herself, she just immediately rejoined with Dante with next to no explanation. This is cheap and rushed. I understand that part of the justification for Arya forgiving Ryoshu so quickly is her timey-wimey nature, allowing her to see the fact that Ryoshu could never let go of her. But the fact that this explanation comes in out of nowhere really doesn't make me feel good about it. Now, you could also argue that her previous negative feelings don't matter, that seeing her mother in this pit, in that pain, unearthed Arya's love for her that she held deep down. That even at her most furious and resentful, that single thread of love in her heart was, like the thread that ties Ryoshu and Arya together, inseverable. Even then I would still have a problem, and that problem is that Arya's feelings go entirely unaddressed. I know Limbus Company's cantos are left open-ended sometimes, but Arya's feelings towards Ryoshu are likely not going to be brought up again for a long time, so it just feels incomplete. It's a shame, because they clearly had some ideas as to how Arya could forgive Ryoshu. In her announcer lines, she says this: "I thought I was just another one of those forgettable memories to her, carved away just as easily as you did that part. Had I known that the blade severs her most precious memories first, maybe I would not have felt as much resentment." Arya learning the most important memories are lost first could have been the start to her forgiving Ryoshu, but that doesn't happen in the story. The only event between the Arya that hates her mother and the Arya that sacrifices herself for her is that she sees Ryoshu using Muga, becoming the weapon the House of Spiders always intended her to be. I don't see why this of all moments should be the thing that makes Arya forgive Ryoshu. She already knows that Ryoshu's sword carves away memories, and she already knows that Ryoshu misses her and is desperately searching to find her. Ryoshu throwing all of her memories away in a fit of rage shouldn't make Arya consider loving her again, because she's already seen how desperate Ryoshu is to get her back. The problem that Arya has is that she thought she was abandoned and forgotten all that time. She thinks that Ryoshu is only coming back to save her out of obligation, not because her mother actually loves her, but because of the thread that ties them together forever. That same thread that has been the symbol of her pain for the past 2 years. Arya views the thread that binds them together as a curse for the both of them. It binds them forever to the Spider House, a place where forgotten and lost things are destined to die. If anything, Ryoshu throwing herself away like that should prove that she was right to resent her, that the Spider House dragged Ryoshu down into its web and cursed her, just as it cursed Arya, and just as it cursed anyone who lived in the Spider's house. But Arya, without any self-reflection, uses that same thread to save Ryoshu the moment the Canto needs it. I like the idea of the thread. It's one of my favorite concepts in the Canto. I like it that even at her worst and most self-destructive, Ryoshu can't sever the thread that binds her to her daughter or the nurse fathers. Using this thread as the exact way to resolve the Canto is a beautiful idea, but there's not enough time in the Canto for Arya's perspective of the thread to turn from one of resentment to one of love and hope. I think that this could have worked, given that Ryoshu's meltdown happened earlier. If we got more time with Arya after the twist, then the sinners might have been able to show Arya that Ryoshu truly loved her, that she hadn't forgotten her at all. And then the moment where Arya sacrifices herself would have hit so much harder. Right now, as the Canto is, Arya's sacrifice is too undeveloped for that moment to be as strong as it could have. So, what do we do to fix this? My problems with Arya are mainly with her adult Pinky Nurse Father self. I had some minor complaints about her child self, but overall, she's adorable and perfectly fine. The twist with Arya as Nurse Father needs to happen earlier, to give Muga Ryoshu, Arya's ego, and Rien's boss fight some time to breathe. Additionally, there needs to be some kind of scene where someone, probably Dante, helps Arya, shows her how horrible Arya Shiki's memory cleaving really is, and convinces her that the threads that force Ryoshu and her together aren't a curse that must drag them both down to the Spider House, but the thing that can save them from it. Side note, I found it strange that Arya went to Dante of all people when Ryoshu was crashing out. I mean, they hadn't even shared a single word before then. I think it would have been better if Dante was more proactive and tried to actually interact with Arya. That way, the moment that Dante unlocks Arya would have felt much more earned. Maybe Dante could show Arya how the chains that have bound the other sinners to them have helped them. That they've been redeeming everyone on their journey, and through the inseparable spider's web and thread, Arya and Ryoshu can redeem each other, even if not right now. Essentially, Arya needs a more explicit motivation to help Dante chain Ryoshu up again, and she needed a bit more focus in the third part to make her reuniting with her mother feel like the strong beat it really could have been. That's basically it for this video, bye.